Hey, you guys. Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Mine versus Me. I am joined here today with my father. He wants to be coined CJ. And I don't know, should I say my cousin? When she is my beautiful cousin Chanel. And we are gathered here today because of my father who wanted to start this podcast. And I want to kick it to him to just explain a little bit about what the importance and the urgency he felt to start a podcast.
Well, good afternoon to you, Rita and Neil. I have the utmost, you have the utmost highest place in my heart. You both do, as well as our brother LJ, who is Chanel's better half. I'm really glad we finally made this begin. It happened, the new beginning of this, the genesis of it, you might say. We might say because something has occurred and something is happening and something is not happening. And because of what's not happening and we know that should happen, things have actually changed within me. I've seen people change. I've seen them change for the worse. But society changes. Races are changing. A lot of things are changing. People are in a lot of dilemmas and searching for answers. And I think the path that we've been on as a people, uh, collectively, individually, I think the ways that we have once done things is over. I think its ability to keep us together as a people, as a nation, I would even say, if that's not going too far. I think all of that is gone away. We've got to do something different. So, in my reflection of my own life, I've discovered that there are different things that happened to me when I was growing up that I didn't realize was coming from something different. It was coming from a deeper place within myself. And I didn't know about how to make contact with that entity inside me that was greater than me. It knew more than me. It protected me when I couldn't protect myself. I had no idea how or why it showed up, but there it was. And I think that is what people have lost, their connection with a higher power, with a the real you, the real spirit, soul, and body of yourself. And to me, because we've lost our connection to that, which I think we should have already been connected to that and never lost the connection. We lost it because of what they told us about or showed us, what they taught us that was so mixed with different. It was just muddy. It was a muddied message. It was a dark message. It was just the path that if the origin isn't genuine, then eventually it's going to show up. You're going to find out, and you're going to come to a place where you can't move forward anymore. Something has to give, something has to happen. And I think that's just where we are. That's where I was. But when I was coming up, there was always something different. I had things to happen to me that, for instance, when I was a teenager, just a little bitty incident. I was riding on a pretend speed bike as a young kid, just whirling in the road and going back and forth and going weaving in and out, playing with traffic. And then all of a sudden, I got ready to make this turn and make a left turn and go right into my driveway, headed home. All of a sudden, I mistimed it, and I was just a young teenager. But when I mistimed it, I knew I wasn't going to survive this. I instantly knew I was in trouble. And when I knew that, and I knew that this is not going to be good, it's not going to be a good outcome. The next thing that happened is time stood still. I mean, it literally stopped. And for whatever reason, however, whomever, it literally stopped. And there was two cars when I looked at my front tire of my bike, I could see the front end of the car that was coming straight toward me. And time stopped. When time stopped, the first car passed, and the second car that was right up on its bumper passed. And then the next thing I know, instantly I came to myself and I was past the second car. How did that happen? What happened? What reason did it happen? Who stopped that? Who did that? And so I began to to just that's when my awakening began to happen within me. Things I would have to describe as something in a greater power just did that. Where did it come from? How did it happen? Why did it happen? But it happened. I'm here. It happened. And so that's what has intrigued me the most. But I have stories throughout my life that has been just like that: a rescue, a sudden rescue, or insight into something that I had no idea about. So that's where I think we've got to get back to.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for
Yeah,
sharing that. And I think that a lot of us are in that place where we have experiences, we don't know quite what to think about them. We're not quite sure to go religious. We're not quite sure to go spiritual and like the differences between the two. So I'd like to kick it to Nell and ask her, like, what have your experiences been like in terms of um awareness, awakening? What were your early experiences like in that realm?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome. I honestly, I've always been pretty aware. I've always had a sense of things, a sense of myself. So, I mean, for me, it started very, very early. And I think because of the way that I grew up, like I was on stage, so I had to be focused. Like I had to share and be able to learn things very quickly. And that kind of just transformed and gave me a place to be, I guess, inclined, if you will, like inclined because of my personal awareness. So my actual real, because it's all real, well, it's all been real for me. But I've just always been very, very aligned with something different. Because even though I didn't grow up very religious, it was never something that was like taken from us. Like my mother and my father never said, hey, y'all can't go to church. Hey, y'all can't do this. Y'all can't do that. One thing I will say, that I think it was more for me a sense of, is this a sign kind of thing.
yeah,
Hmm.
So I was 18 years old and I had just joined a church home. So I had just found a church. I'm 18 years old. I'm driving, I'm working, I'm doing things on my own. I'm going to church with a friend of mine and her mother. And I had just joined the church. I went and was receiving, the welcome letters and the welcomes with everyone. They're telling us when to show up. And I had got a new job. And this new job had me working on Sundays and
mm,
Wednesdays. And I told them during orientation, like, I can't work on Sundays. I just started a new church home. Like, I just signed up for this stuff. And they're like, oh, well, the people who actually work here, they go to Calvary Bible College out in Belton, Missouri. This is where
mm,
I was living at the time. And they can't work on Sundays. They can't work on Wednesdays. So we need you to work those days.
Yeah.
mm,
And when they told me that, I was like, is this a sign? Like, does
mm.
this mean that this is not something that I'm supposed to continue to maneuver in?
Hmm.
And it kind of it was gone and I never looked back.
Yeah,
And
Interesting.
like I said, I've always just had a sense of awareness, personal awareness.
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
of course, over the years you learn more. And like you said, you get to a place where you actually get to see and choose between, is it this or is it something more than what we've been told? Like, have we
exactly.
forgotten who we are?
Exactly. Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
forgotten the connection to that source that that we all are a part of the collective.
Yeah. You know, when I was coming up and I came up in church. I was raised in church. I was church Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, you name it. I was there all the time. My grandmother had me there. And even in my journey, even in my experience, there were things that I gained. I felt a presence. There were times when I felt love and all of those things, but still something within me, even as I sat in that church, it always said there's more to it than this. It's like what you said now. There's more to it than this. Now, if I'm sitting in a church setting and there's a choir, there's a preacher, and all these people are here, and I'm sitting here and I can feel the presence of a higher power while I'm sitting there, and they're singing song. Anybody can break into a euphoric moment, but I felt a higher presence. But then, still, that voice, even in that setting, said, as a young child, "There's more to it than this." And that was my thing. What is the more to it? How do I find out about it? And that's what kept me hungry. What is the more to it? Send it back to you, Rita.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think a lot of people go to church, and we should probably talk a little bit about our backgrounds a little bit more in depth, but I think a lot of people go to church and they're trying to check a box, right? They're trying to make
Yeah.
sure they're looking good in God's eyes. They're trying to make sure
Hmm.
that they are doing what's right. A lot of times, I think a lot of them are in autopilot where they've been going since a child, and this is just something you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to church on Wednesday, you're supposed to go to church on Sunday. But they never bridge the gap and find the relationship part of what I feel really makes Christianity and really brings you to the point of what we're talking about is what's the more to it, right? If you go to
Yeah.
church every Sunday, you're listening to the pastor, you listen to the sermon, maybe it helps get you through the week. But ultimately, you're going to get to the point where you're like, okay, if you're building a relationship, it's more so I feel like something that God can lead and guide you like through everyday activities or through
Yeah.
whatever you're doing in life. And so I think a lot of people are just checking a box and not necessarily maybe they're not even aware, because this goes back to the consciousness and awareness. They're not even
Hmm.
aware that there's more out there, that there's a deeper
Exactly.
level to this, that, that we're more powerful beyond measure, and that we have actual gifts in this, in this plane, in this space where we can enact them today, right now. A lot of people think everything is hinged upon a prayer.
Yeah.
You're going to
Exactly.
pray. Not that you can't pray and have that prayer work miracles, but I think there's also an awareness we need to have that we have a power within us that we can tap into. And I think that's what we're wanting this podcast to be about, is exploring that. How do we go deeper inside? How do we use that information to guide us? And how do we develop and grow and discover like what we potentially have forgotten, you know?
Exactly.
I don't know, does that makes
Exactly.
sense? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's kind of how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. There's a scripture that says that before we were even formed in our mother's womb, that God knew us. And I had to think about that because how could he know me before I was in my mother's womb, before I was even formed in within her? He knew me, or she knew me. I say that now.
Mhm.
It's referring to the universal God. Then certainly, if he knew me before I was formed, then that means if I believe that, I had to be in another place, at another state of what consciousness. Before, if that was before I was ever born, he knew me. Then I was somewhere else. If I was somewhere else, where is that place? And if that place is in the universal God, why was I sent to this earth? For
Mhm.
what reason was I born or birthed into this earth? Now, if I was birthed into this earth and I came from a higher presence of consciousness of God, and now I'm here, what is the reason I'm here? Why
Mhm.
am I here? What am I to discover? What am I to do? I should have came here knowing what I was supposed to do.
Mhm.
But how did that get lost?
Sure.
Did it get lost in the things I was exposed to, the things I was taught, the things that they said were that I was should do or shouldn't do? Did it get lost in you don't look like God because I just heard what you said, and now, well, you definitely look like God because I see how you look, how you carry yourself. I mean, did it get lost somewhere in the shift? That doesn't look like God. This does look like God, or
Mhm.
we were judging. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I believe we came here with a purpose and a reason for being. That's what I want to discover, get back into. Take all the rules and regulations off,
Mhm.
get rid of them. Because right now, all those rules and regulations are failing
Mm.
us as a people, us as a nation,
Yeah.
people as a world of beings, of God beings. Something's failing. The message that we've been taught, it's wrong. Something's wrong about it. We've got to rediscover who we are and who He is in us and through us and as us. And that's what I'm here to dig deep, ask hard questions. How do
Mhm.
we find the answers to them? And collectively, something's within each of us. How do we
Yeah.
tap into that, and how do we release that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Well, okay, you brought up something, the message that we've been taught in regards to what we're here for and why
mm,
we're here. Can you think of anything specifically that you feel like has been disseminated through the church or through common beliefs of like what we're here for? Or do you think it's just a general, we're just here to live and experience life? I mean, I don't know. I want both of y'all perspective on this. Or do you think it's
let's see.
something?
What do you think, Dr. Chanel?
Yeah, what do you
So
think?
I've studied metaphysics. I have a bachelor's in metaphysics, and I'm studying for my master's. And well, I'm studying for my master's currently, and then I'll be moving on to my doctorate very soon.
All right.
So, what metaphysics teaches, and something that I've always been called to and just felt, is that we're spirits. We started
Mhm.
off as spirits first, well, a soul, and that's spirit. So, spirit is that consciousness
Yes.
that we're all connected to, that one source, that highest source. And the purpose that we're here is to evolve, is
Hmm.
to learn,
That's it.
is to
That's
grow.
it.
We came here knowing all that we need to know.
Mm.
Mm,
But how do we come here?
yeah.
We come here through a portal, through
Okay.
a womb.
Hmm.
Mm,
And we come here not being able to talk, walk, none of that. Everything that
Yeah.
right.
we have is innate. It's in us. Like babies know and children know more than we give them credit for knowing.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
Yeah.
when especially when you put us into certain arenas where we can learn and thrive in that.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
like you were saying earlier, the things that have been taken from us or have been those limited beliefs that humans place on what we're capable of,
Hmm.
that's what keeps us from being able to transcend and
Yeah.
connect to that highest version of ourselves, to connect to that consciousness, to connect to that source. And it's comprehending that we're spirits
Hmm.
having human experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Experiences, of course, we have things outside of us that we would love to control and say, I don't want this to be like that anymore.
Hmm.
Like, I just want everyone to be happy. Like, you know how they have those Miss America, what do you want? Like, I want world peace.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's something that so many people would say, yeah, I want world peace. But
Hmm.
the the limited beliefs of humans say that world peace is not possible.
Mm,
Mm.
We say that those things are not possible. And spirit consciousness, the highest consciousness, says that there are all possibilities.
yes.
Mm.
So it's for me what I am based on what I've studied and kind of what I knew, because when I started studying metaphysics, it showed me, I'm like, oh, I've already been doing these things. I've already been
Mhm.
having these conversations with people, because these are conversations that no one wants to have. Like if you
Right.
don't look at things in a certain way, if you don't have a certain perspective, or if you don't like, if you perceive things in a different way than a lot of other people, people will look at you and say, "What are you talking about? You crazy? You sound like you talking some mumbo jumbo."
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah. For
and
sure, for sure.
and it makes you feel like, am I crazy? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what's wrong with me? Like,
Hmm.
and that's, I had to learn by going into myself and by choosing to trust myself and trust my judgment, my discernment,
Yeah.
that I'm not crazy at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Crazy at
No.
all. There are certain
No.
things that just stick out and certain things that just connect. And the more I have experiences, the more I realize how they're connected
Hmm.
and how other people are like, it's not a coincidence when you choose to go into um, a smoothie shop and get a smoothie and there's nobody in line, that 10 minutes later you look back and there's a line out the door. That's
Hmm.
not a
Yeah.
coincidence. That
Yeah.
is collective consciousness working in real time. Like, it's
Mm.
showing us that that thought happened for me and it happened for 10 other people right behind me.
Yeah.
Mm.
This isn't
Yeah,
to say what's happening at the smoothie shop down the street, what's happening in the smoothie shop in New York City. Like,
yeah.
that's where the collective consciousness, and we, and like I, and once before, people feel like, a lot of us feel like they're just coincidences.
Hmm.
Everyone just showed up at the same time. No, we're connected.
Hmm.
Exactly.
We're way more connected than people even can fathom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
It's
think
so
you
true.
I think you touched
Yeah.
on something there with your notion of like people are so afraid to, number one, you're kind of afraid to be different, but people are afraid to hear something different. Anything that's against the status quo is just unacceptable, right? And it's
Right.
like
Right.
Exes,
nobody, yeah, like nobody wants to hear it, and they're closed-minded, you know. I mean, my God, think about all the people who tried to come forward, all the women who tried to come forward with medicine back in the day, you know, who were
Yeah.
named witches, you know, they were, you know, burnt at the stake. But those
Yeah.
are the same
Exactly.
medical practices we use to this day, you know, like to save people's lives. And so it's
Yeah.
like, and I have to ask myself, like, how, or did they know, or maybe they didn't know that they were tapping into something internally inside themselves to birth this thing into the world to advance us as a society, like
Sure.
tapping into something that can just propel us forward as a species, you know? Like I think of higher consciousness and I'm like it's 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 hard to like it's really hard to put a finger on because you can't see it, right? It does require a level of faith. It requires a level of self-awareness and internal time to just explore yourself and be comfortable with your own company, presence.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people are not ready for that. But there are a
Yeah.
vast few like us here who have spent
Yeah.
time within ourselves. We feel
yeah,
like we know ourselves very well. We enjoy our own internal company. And it's like that allows you, that comfort allows you to explore inside more, to birth like this consciousness and to pull it out of you, you know, like in my eyes. So
Exactly.
I think a lot of people are just afraid of anything different and but they feel it. Like they know something is off.
that's
Yeah.
why we're
Like,
here.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Exactly.
here.
Exactly.
We're here because there's so many people feeling different things, and we aren't sure where to go to learn more.
yeah.
Find the answers. Exactly.
We don't
And I
know
think
where to
our
find answers.
yeah, and our
Mhm.
experiences has taught us about that interconnection to the higher consciousness that is within us toward God. I'm very reflective still in of scriptures. One of the things that Jesus said is with men things are impossible, but with God or a higher consciousness of God within, all things are possible. So I think not that I'm bringing, but I'm not limited to just Jesus. There were other great men who had good have said some things about their conscience that in God that was greater than others that they were around, or they had experiences, and we should learn from them.
Hmm.
But I know within each of us is the ability to connect. We're already connected to the higher consciousness. We just got to talk about it, share our moments, our experiences that will help others identify and learn and know. Like you said, it wasn't a coincidence that you went to the smoothie shop. Nobody was there when you got there, straight to the front. I think I think our higher consciousness has always wanted to put humanity and in our divinity and our own humanity. It wanted to blend it together. Should have never been separated. But one of the experiences that I had once was I was very thirsty, and I was the type that was really meditating, and I was committed to following Jesus. Man, I was 100%. But I was at school, and I was very thirsty, and I had no money, nothing. All I said is with my mouth, Lord, I'm thirsty. Well, when I said Lord, I was just acknowledging the greater one within me, the higher power within me. I'm thirsty. And all of a sudden, I heard this voice on the inside say, go to that machine and push the button, what you want to drink. Now, there were 9 different machines in this commons area of this school. But all I heard was say, go to the machine and push that button, get what you want. Now I'm left to either know I heard something within me and act on it, or I'm going to say, what was that? Who was that? Where did that come from? But I had been practicing listening within, listening to my inner man on the inside, who I believe is the real me, the one that helps to keep me, one that kind of helps me to maintain an alignment with the higher consciousness. So I went straight to the machine, pushed the button, out came the drink I want. Well, how did that happen? I mean, just like that. Did somebody leave some money in there and I don't know, they could have, but I didn't know that. I had no idea. All I know, I was thirsty. When I said, Lord, I am thirsty, I was just simply saying to the one that is within me that's greater than anything, everything around me that's more real, I'm thirsty. And I simply got the instruction, go to that machine and push the button, get what you want. And that's what I did, and it happened.
Mm.
Now, folks, if it can happen like that, I think that's just our higher consciousness that within us has always been trying to open the communication gap where you can hear it, where you can know it, where you
Yes.
can move with it, and
Mhm.
it can move you and instruct you and give you wisdom and insight. But it started with little exercises like that. I think one built upon another and upon another and upon another. And that's how I knew stay in touch with what's within, what's God within you. And even Jesus said, we're the sons and daughters of God.
Mhm.
So, I mean, he's already saying, get your mind off of who you think you are. Focus on what I said you are. You're sons and daughters of God. We are God in the earth as beings, a higher consciousness of God. But we have to elevate our mind, elevate our thoughts, elevate what we think about, and then rethink what we used to think, you know.
Okay.
And those are some things that help to propel me to continue to dig for more, find that more that I needed to hear. But that's just one of the things that happened to me that really kept me in tune with, oh man, something is really happening within me. Let's discover this and stay in touch and get to know this God within me.
Yeah. I think that happens with a lot of people. And like Chanel said earlier, they may not know what it is or want to hear it, but it's that
Right.
small, still voice that's like, hey, you should go left today instead of going right. Hey, you
Yeah.
should try the back roads today. Or that little small thought. Like, oh, maybe I should go talk to my boss about a raise today. Today feels like a good day. Like all these small, still very quiet thoughts are what are almost like I won't say a gateway, but they're definitely how I believe messages are communicated to us,
Sure.
for us to tap into that. And like you were saying, like practicing hearing that or practicing getting comfortable with listening to that, hearing
Yeah.
what that is,
In tune. In tune. Yes.
in
Here.
tune. It's absolutely, it's gonna help us grow. And this is why quiet and stillness in your own company is so important too, right? Because you have
Yeah.
to learn what it sounds like. You have to learn what, and for some people, I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this. Is that voice in your own, is it in your own voice? Is it in someone else's voice? Are you hearing is it just a thought? Is it actually a physical voice you hear? Like, what are y'all's experiences with hearing something that, leads you to do something different than you probably would have done?
Mm.
I mean, so
Go ahead now. Go ahead now.
go ahead. You're already talking. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
we're
ahead.
talking together as one.
We were.
There's some words that Jesus said. He said, "My people know me. They don't follow the stranger. They know my voice. When they hear it, they know me." Now, I'm not limiting it to the voice of Jesus, because even when he left, he said, "I'm leaving, but I'm going to send you he called him the comforter, the Holy Spirit. He will lead you and guide you in the truth, and he'll show you things to come." But even I don't think he was limiting the voice within to be just the Holy Spirit. I think we stopped listening to one another. We stopped engaging with who we are on the inside. Who am I? I mean, when I actually started meditating and giving my meditation its proper place in my life, I heard so many voices in my head, from
Mm.
my boss to my grandma to the preacher to the friends, and I had to get to a place where I could shut those voices out. And that took meditation. It took hours. I'm not talking minutes. It
Nope.
took hours of finding something that could settle me on the inside, help bring peace within me, where I could finally hear. And I just practiced it at home for starters. It would always be after everybody was off. Everybody had went to bed, and it would be after probably after 10 or shortly thereafter. And I would sit there and lay there, and I would I play the music I wanted, that I found um, acceptable, that helped settle me. And and before I knew it, I would just be quiet and be. She said, "Be still and know." And I would just be quiet and be still. And there were times I would just pray things in my head, my mind, about particular things, but I was settling myself within, and it took time to in order to get me in a place to where I slowly began to hear that voice within me stronger. It became stronger within me,
It-
and stronger and stronger. So it took practice. It took a lot of practice. I still do it today. It takes practice. It still takes practice. Still takes me giving that place time in my life to where, because I want to know that voice more than I want to know anybody else.
yeah.
Because to me, it's brought me the most safety. It helps me to understand some things, and I mean, that's one thing that I do.
Okay. Love it. What about you now?
Yeah, I think everything that you said, especially when it comes to practice.
Mm,
Practice, practice, practice. Practice don't make perfect.
yeah,
Practice makes practice. You
yeah,
have to
Mhm.
keep practicing in order to get to that space. You have to keep practicing to hear those voices. You have to keep practicing to be able to shut off everything else, even sometimes our own thoughts.
And
yeah.
do
Speaking
this.
of meditation, I learned to really meditate and in about 2016. I didn't have any other options. I needed to do something.
Hmm.
I had to
Mm,
relearn my life.
Yeah.
yeah.
I literally had to relearn my life.
Wow.
Me, who I was. I had worked for 10 years. shoot, not 12, 10 years, 12 years, just straight, bink, 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 all these years. And meditation was something I would do in like yoga sometimes. Like it wasn't something that I was doing and making a practice of.
Yeah.
And with those voices, sometimes, like you said, they used to be other people's voices telling me who I am and what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Until I got to a point where, okay, I know this ain't about nobody else now. It's like these other
Yeah.
voices aren't a part of me.
Yeah.
They're things that I've heard, they're memories. And
Yeah.
it's wild how our memories can do that to us. They play tricks on us because
Exactly.
these voices may not even be something real that someone said. It may be a thought that you hear in that person's voice. So with like learning to discern what you're hearing, learning when you get certain, but like I had to learn when I would get certain thoughts, like, oh, don't put that there. It's like, whose thought was that? Like, that was from 20 years ago. Like, I am not a child anymore. I'm still that childlike version of myself. That's gotta be why I heard this voice like I heard it. However, that's not true anymore. So I have to learn. This is a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
A whole
However,
good subject.
the way, yes, this here is a very great point that a lot of people I feel like struggle with, because this is where we learn who we actually are. Like, not who we thought we were, who other people told us we were, who we thought we had to be during certain times of our life to survive, to get through the day. Like, not that.
Yeah.
We literally have to, everyone, that the only way to get to this point is to say, that ain't working no more. Just like you said earlier, that ain't working no more. And because that's not working anymore, I got to do something different.
Yep.
I have to take myself out of everything that I ever thought and put myself above all of these issues, all of these problems, all of these things that I thought were very, like, the most important things in my life.
Exactly.
Now, doing everything different, hearing everything differently, smelling everything different, tasting everything different, experiencing the drive down to the mailbox totally different. Y'all, I just learned, I just realized in the last year that we have fire hydrants on my block. That sounds crazy. I legit one day looked outside and I said, no, we were having a conversation. I was having a conversation with someone, and me and LJ are together, and they're like, yeah, we got fire hydrants over here. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, really wrecking my brain. Like, and I said it out loud. I said, we ain't got no fire hydrants on my block.
Yeah.
My husband looked at me and he said, yeah, we do. And I said, no, we don't. So this was me thinking, because it's not something I ever concerned myself with. Now concerning myself with it, it's like, we got fire hydrant here, fire hydrant here, fire hydrant on the other end. They're on the other side of the street too. Like, this is because I had to remove myself from what I thought, and sometimes it takes us having those moments where we're like clueless to bring us back to being where we're supposed to be. Because I was never supposed, them fire hydrants don't make me no, never mind. At all. However, now I know that they're there. So now I have new perspective to work with.
There you go. Exactly.
And honestly, a greater awareness, right? Because
I can be as much aware as myself as I can be. Things outside of me that don't genuinely matter to me, like the fire hydrants don't matter unless there's a fire on my block and the fire truck runs out of its water.
Yeah.
You know, this is how my brain thinks of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but this topic here is huge. I promise you, the the voices that we hear, like I feel like a lot of times they start off as other people's,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
start off as other things, and then once we can hone ourselves and get to a point within ourselves where we're comfortable with
Okay.
hearing
Exactly.
ourselves, like sometimes, like I said, sometimes I get messages
Mhm.
that aren't like telling me to do anything. It's just, an ancestor, or, tapped in somewhere and I'm hearing someone say, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
But
Yep.
most of the time, those voices that I hear, the thoughts, those things that say, "Hey, when you get up, go do this."
Yeah.
Okay. When you just walked into this room, go back in that other room and grab that water and go outside and water this plant. I'm not thinking about watering the plant. I was just told to
Right.
water the plant, so I gotta water the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Like
think
this,
I think that brings up a good point though, because if you have a voice, um, how do you know? How do you know that voice is the voice that you should listen to? Like how do you know that's what you should follow? Or how do you know that's no, that's the voice of my mom, my mom's negativity. I shouldn't listen to that, and I'm actually going to rewrite that. You know,
Yeah.
like how would you know the difference between the two?
Well, one gauge you can use is how does that thought or that memory add or take away from you the quality of your life? Does it add something to it, or does it take something away? Like you say, there's a lot of voices. I mean, I had to set a lot of voices, but you've got to place a demand on yourself to yield, to be in tune. You got to give yourself the ability to say, "Hey, hush and listen." You got to tell
yeah,
yourself sometimes, "Shut up, be quiet, and listen. Pay
Mhm.
attention." One time we were going to a park for a weekend park picnic, and here I am thinking, here I am, man, this is my family. I prayed, well, we've held hands, and I've asked God to protect us. And all of a sudden, at the end, Denise, out of her mouth, my daughter says, "Daddy, we don't have to go the interstate. We can go the old highway." And I thought, I'm the one driving. What do you mean? I know which way I want to go. What do you mean we don't have to go the interstate? I'm saying to myself. I said, "Okay, everybody, let's get in the car." And me, with my old thinking that I just know what I know, and I'm just hearing, and I just know God's going to protect us. Instead of going the back road, I took the interstate. When I got on the interstate, there was an 18 wheeler that lost control, headed straight toward us. He swerved in the median, and now I can only see dust. I can't even see the 18 wheeler. He's heading toward us. And now, believe it or not, one of his tires comes off, and now this tire is bouncing in the air and heading directly toward us. I've either got to gauge my speed to prevent this tire from killing somebody. And I had to slow down and gauge my speed. The tire bounced between us and bounced over and away from everyone. But I was already warned by my daughter. She said, "Daddy, we don't have to go the interstate. We can go the back road." Now, if here I am praying, all of a sudden when we finish praying, she says this, why
Yeah.
didn't I pay attention? Why didn't my inner man say she's right? She would have never said that out of the ordinary.
yeah,
This is an unordinary circumstance or situation she's speaking from. I should have listened. But because now uh, there was no accident, everybody was okay. But look what could have happened. I mean, someone could have been easily killed. That accident could have been avoided totally if I would have just went the back way. So even there, I mean, but here's the deal. Jesus said this, and he said, "Out of the mouths of children and babes," like you mentioned earlier, now how even children have can say the most remarkable things. to capture your attention comes wisdom. And so I mean I think there's so many we should stop limiting our kids from being able to speak freely about what's going on within them because hey, I think they're more in tune than some adults. Sometimes they still need adult guidance. Don't get me wrong, folks.
Absolutely.
But hey, something is going on. Someone is trying to tell you and get your attention. Hey, if you're going to command that ship that you're walking in and you're talking through every day, you need some instructions. You need to be connected to your consciousness that comes from God, that is God, that's in you as God. That needs to happen. And because it hasn't happened, we see more circumstance, problems, conditions of people until it's disturbing. It's very disturbing, but he brings peace. Our higher consciousness should bring us to a place of peace, and I think it will. But
Mhm.
we've got to get in tune. We've got to hear, just like you said. But that was an incident that happened with me. But even my daughter had an answer. I had to shut up and listen. So we need to learn when we can speaking or talking or following, someone else might be there with an answer or an insight or something that could aid or assist or help us.
Mm. That's a good tip there that could help us all. I think I'd be interested from you guys to know how could someone practice? Like what's an exercise they could do to work on this if they wanted to tap in and try to just experiment in discovering their inner voice for themselves? What would you guys suggest?
Hmm. So I spend a lot of time talking to myself. I
Yeah.
speak to myself a lot.
Mm.
A lot. Like probably like if someone were to walk into my house and if someone else came, they would promise I was on the phone with someone. Awfully lot of time
Mm.
to myself because when it's a lot of people who aren't sure of who they are or who have things that they're looking to overcome, there's a place where we play victim on in and say, well, so and so owes me this and this happened because of this person. Instead of okay, not instead of. That's how a lot of people are. We have this victim mentality, and most people, when you find that they're in this position, when they're in this frame of being, they are they come into contact with a lot of hardship, a lot of things that are they feel like, oh, I don't have any control over that. It's out of my control. This is just messed up.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to adjust that from being a victim mentality to being someone in control of what I could control.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's one of the first things, comprehending what you have control over and working on those things.
Yeah.
Everything outside of you. And when we talk to ourselves and we talk out our issues, our problems, the things that we're experiencing, we give ourselves answers. It's
Yeah.
just like when you're talking to someone else about something, when you're venting. Like I have this rule now where people don't get to vent to me
Sure.
because venting is something that you should do with yourself, for yourself. That's not for me.
Yeah.
I am
Interesting.
here to be a channel, to be a vessel to provide guidance and messages from wherever they come from. And a lot
Yeah.
of times when people are venting or sharing their experiences or they're most of the time they're frustrated and they're looking to figure something out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when you're someone who comprehends, okay, I'm frustrated, I need to talk this out so that I can get to a resolve.
Yeah.
Like you have to be very intentional in that.
Yeah.
And
It's
some
interesting.
people, that's the reason why for me, when people are venting or where they want to vent, I have to tell them, like, look, you can't call me to vent. We're going to have a
Mm,
conversation.
Yeah.
sure.
Like, conversation versus venting. Venting is you saying everything. A conversation is you telling me you have a problem and you're looking to, okay, and you're looking to solve it. My
Yeah.
first question is, are you looking for a resolution?
Yeah.
And since
Yeah.
that's my first question to other people, that's always going to be the first question to myself. I
Yeah.
ask myself, am I looking to resolve this? And if I'm not, I don't have the conversation.
Yeah.
Mm. And it
When
goes
I'm
right back to what you're saying about validating. People are looking for validation and they're looking to play the victim or have a victim mentality. So a lot of times that vent session is just to validate their emotions and not
absolutely,
necessarily solve it or move forward or grow. And invoke the growth that needs to happen to not be in the same position next
because
week,
that's,
next year.
yes, because that's the whole issue. We have these things that we just want to talk about, and
Hmm.
it's like, are you looking to resolve it though?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I talk to myself all the time because I know that I'm wired to fix problems. As humans,
Yeah.
we're biologically wired to solve problems. It's the reason
Yeah.
why we stay alive. We know if I stayed alive and I did this yesterday, I can do the same thing tomorrow and I can wake up the next day.
Big
Yeah.
bird.
We're wired to solve problems. And if you talk
Exactly.
to yourself with that intent in mind, I'm here to find a resolve for this,
Hmm.
then I can get to a point where the resolve comes.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
And it used to take a long time. Now those resolves come a lot quicker
Yeah.
Yep.
because I know I've created a shortcut for myself
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that I
yeah,
don't have to go through the whole thing. I just follow some key points that for every issue there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. I don't
yeah,
have
yeah,
to talk it through because I've already experienced it. I just have to comprehend for myself where I'm going with this. So
And
I feel like,
especially,
oh, go
I
ahead.
don't mean to stop you. Go right ahead. I don't mean to stop you.
No, I was just saying, I think I for personally, and what I always look to share with anyone who comes to me with any frustrations or anything, I always say, hey, you got to look for a resolution. If you're not looking for a resolution, you're not looking for a solution. You're looking to stay here.
Yeah.
mm,
And it's not to be rude or dismissive. It's you're not a baby. Like
yeah,
a kid, if you sit a child down and you tell them to fix this and come to a resolution, they can do that. They can do it very quickly. They may need you to come and give them a couple of pointers and talk them through it. But if you tell them what to do and give them clear instructions, and they can do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's this, and I guess because my dominant reference within myself has been scripture. There's a scripture that says you need protect your heart or protect the forces within, protect your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the answers, the to the forces of life. And I can see how if we don't protect what goes in our own ear, what we hear, what we see, what we watch, what we talk about, then I can see how it can bring interference to us being receptacles or receivers for the answer. So we do must place a demand on protecting our heart, diligently, because, like as you say, I'm answers. I can help find solutions, and to me, that's important because you gotta protect your heart. Everybody, you can't let people just dump any and everything to you, and then you walk and say, "Oh man, God, I can't even think straight." I've been in situations like that where I've heard people say some things, man, and I felt worse than I did when I walked in there. You have to protect your heart, and because within you is the answers to life and godliness, and when I mean by godliness, I don't mean rules, but answers to the way to live, and the way to live with victory, and the way to live productively, and the way to live a life that brings strength and peace and joy and the other things. On another situation I had, and I'm not trying to take all the time, read it now. Um,
I mean, it's fine.
One practice I did when I started working in prison, Um, I would be driving, and it was about 60 miles away, and I would be driving to the prison, and I would have this music on, basically meditation music, and I would just be asking for wisdom to come, for me to have the wisdom to come to say whatever I needed to say, to act according to how I needed to in order to reach those different men in prison. And as I said this, and I heard this voice say, "You see that car behind you?" While I was driving, I said, "Yeah." And the car had to been a mile over, about a mile behind me. I could just barely see the car itself. And I said to myself, "What about it?" And he said, "There's a man driving that car, and this is the color of his shirt." I heard this within me, but this is getting me to hear him and not be clouded in my judgment when I hear what I hear within myself. So I slowed down on purpose to see. At a mile back, I can't tell who's driving the vehicle, let alone what they have on.
Yeah.
So I slowed down, and it was a man driving the car. He had exactly the color shirt that I heard come from within here, from within me. And it would almost happen on every occasion that I went with the purpose of helping to bring answers to other inmates who were in problem situations. Every time it would happen, but when it happened, it helped me to know what was going on inside me. It helped me to fine tune my frequency, my antenna, to where I could, when if he was speaking, it, I heard it. There it is. I heard you. I heard what you said, and I would say that, or I would act on that, or I would do that. So that's one of the things that helped me. I just practiced. I heard a voice. What is that voice? It could be your own voice within yourself, your own. You heard yourself say something, sometimes it was, I used to say, I heard grandma say something to me one day. I thought grandma couldn't have said that to me. She'd been gone a long time,
Yeah.
but it was like
Yeah.
her voice was right there. But it just happened that way. Now, so that's one of the different things I did too. I practice. And sometimes the exercises may seem unusual, but it's only unusual to the person sometimes who hears it. It's for you, in order for you to become stronger within, so where you won't hesitate. There be no hesitation because you know what you heard. You act on what you heard. And you know that it's from the greater one inside you, the universal part of God that is within you. You know it's right. You know it's cute. You know it's exactly what you need. Sometimes it's not for you, it's for the person that you're speaking to, or you're referring to, or you're talking to, or you're counseling to. So that was another practice. It was most unusual
Mhm.
to know the person a mile back and see there and know it was a man or know it was a woman, or then even know their color of the vehicle that may be driving. It may sound strange, but it wasn't strange for me
Yeah.
because that was the way the fine tuning came within me to where I knew that voice. And when Jesus said, "My sheep know my voice," he also said, "The stranger they will not follow." So I think as we get to know this universal consciousness of God, that's in other people too. I think it just gets us to that place to where we don't find ourselves following the stranger anymore.
Yeah.
We find ourselves knowing who we are and speaking as we are, who we are in Him.
Yeah. And I think growing up, I remember you kind of leading us in prayer, I want to say, in regards to just opening that door to, Lord, I want to hear your voice, and so that I may follow it, and the strangers I wouldn't follow. I remember
Yeah.
a prayer along those lines. And so I'm wondering, do you guys think there's a level of opening yourself up to through prayer, or through just, as Nell's saying, just conversations with your inner self, that, hey, I'm willing and I'm open to hear what you have for me. I would like, I mean, it's not like you're saying I'd like to practice to, on the highway today. But more so just making that declaration, like I'm open to hearing what you have for me and exploring that. with you. Do you think that's something we should declare as people?
No,
I
I
think
don't.
so.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead now.
I think that one of the main things that people don't comprehend when it comes to prayer or meditation is to go in with and being open to gratitude, because
Yeah.
it's all about gratitude. It's all about thanking not only yourself for choosing, but also thanking spirit for being a part of you.
Mm.
Thanking spirit
Exactly.
for being a part of the collective consciousness, because that's how we get to speaking to each other telepathically,
Mm.
like we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's something that, and LJ and I had a great example of prayer and gratitude earlier.
Oh
Mm.
man.
That was really interesting. It was really interesting. I'm gonna make it real quick because
Yeah, I want to. I
Yeah.
want
Go
to.
ahead.
I
I
want
want
to
to hear
hear
it.
it. I want to
Yeah.
hear it.
how much time
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah.
So we be watching all kind of stuff, right?
Hmm.
So we watch the PBA championships on Sundays. It's bowling.
Oh.
So there's a certain gentleman. He's very good. He's one of the best in the world, and he needed two strikes and one pin in the 10th frame to win the game.
Mm.
Mm.
But he needed two strikes first. Because if
Mm.
you know about bowling, you know in the 10th frame you get three shots at strikes. If you get a strike, two in a row.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, so the guy who had already gone in his 10th frame, he's sitting there, and you can legit feel him. I'm big on energy and feelings, so I
Mhm.
felt his. Please let him miss. 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 I felt him
Chanting
saying
that.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't question what I feel when I feel it. And then LJ says, "Oh man, he praying that he miss."
Wow.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I kid y'all not, y'all. I kid you not. Guy went through the ball, one pin left. He
Mm.
needed two strikes and one pin. He made the first strike, missed the second strike.
Mhm.
So he didn't
Yikes.
get, so all he got was, I think, 195, and the other guy had 196. So he beat
Wow.
him by one pin.
Wow.
And I sat here and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's so messed up.
Just
You're
seen how
never
that
supposed
happened.
to, you're never supposed to pray for someone else's downfall.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Exactly.
You're never supposed to pray, wish, think that it's going to be bad. It's going
Yeah.
to end badly." When you were in that position, I grew up dancing. So we were on stage in competition every year. I wasn't in competition with the people in my dance crew. I was in competition with other dance studios.
Mhm.
So I knew that when I'm up there, we've already done our thing. The judges are judging. At
Yeah.
that point, all I'm doing is praying that we've done enough to win.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not praying that anybody else is. I pray that they're going to lose. No, I'm praying that I'm going to win, because we went out there and we killed the stage. Like, we did exactly what we were supposed to do.
Mhm.
And that's what you're supposed to do. That's gratitude. Gratitude is saying that
Exactly.
I've done what I'm supposed to do. May my score reflect it by when the last pin drops.
There
Sure.
That's
you
what
go.
you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So that
Exactly.
that prayer is something that we're not taught how to properly do. And it also feeds into meditation, because in meditation we want it to be a certain way, and the way to get there is through gratitude.
Mhm. Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Through feeling it and
Yeah.
saying, "I am grateful for the opportunity to get to sit here in this space. Thank
Mhm.
you
Exactly.
for creating this space for me. Thank you,
Yeah.
Spirit, for
Exactly.
being a part of me in this space. Thank
Hmm.
you to the innermost source for bringing me to the realization that I need this space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's gratitude. Gratitude is, I feel, the one thing that in prayer, in everyday living, that will, it takes it to be able to, because it shifts your reality. It shifts the way that you think about things,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you
absolutely.
feel about things. It takes your emotions out of it. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, I might have got cut off in traffic and, missed my appointment by, was late to my appointment. I still made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still made it safely in one piece.
Yeah.
So
You
definitely gratitude will definitely produce a higher altitude within
Ooh, I
each
love
of us
that.
that we will climb, we will go to a higher place. But you got to maintain that gratitude for whatever you attempt to do. I was reminded of when Rita was a little girl, when all my children, I would walk in the door in the house and I would put money in one of my pockets or in one of my hands,
Yeah.
and I would ask each of them, "Where is the money?" And my training for them was I knew most of them were just rushing, just guess. I said, "Stop, don't guess. Close your eyes, listen to your heart, and make a choice." Now, out of all my children, one of them got it about 98% of the time, and that was Mrs. RITA.
I already
She got
know.
it 98.9% of the time. She got it right. Now, the others did too, but that was one of the training exercises that I use with them. Listen to your heart before you just open your mouth or say anything. But that was really a blessing. What you mentioned, you definitely got to have gratitude.
Yeah.
Definitely got to be grateful for what we have, and definitely got to have gratitude about anything that we're a part of. That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah. Gratitude is so important. I've been trying to do more daily practices of gratitude, and honestly, I feel like it's one of the releasing factors to get to the next level, to learn how to go to a higher frequency. I mean, I kind of learned more about frequencies maybe a couple of years ago, but like, low vibrational people, high vibrational people, if you're trying to grow, like gratitude for where you currently are, what you currently have, the things you currently have access to. And like you said, Chanel, like changing your perspective of like what that looks like. Because when you want something, it's like if you don't have it, sometimes you can get stuck in that negativity of not having it instead of saying, you know what, wait, I have food in my fridge. I'm so grateful. Wait, I have a hot shower tonight. I'm so grateful. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be, the thing that you don't have. Let's look at all these little things that you have and like give thanks for those things. And this is not even on a Christian, non-Christian, Buddhist, whatever. No, this is just a life experience of giving gratitude for
yeah,
what
yeah,
has come to you so that it can unlock the perspective for like more to come, you know?
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it definitely gives way for you to receive other rewards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Definitely. Things you wouldn't even think could be yours.
Yeah,
yeah. And I think you mentioned something earlier I was going to touch on about self-reflection and just kind of, I guess, it was along the lines of where you were saying about not wanting to, what was it? Not gossip, but when you're talking to friends, like don't call you
Oh, to vent.
vent. Yeah,
to vent, yeah,
yeah,
because like there is a level of self-reflection that I think has to happen where you have to stop being the victim and you have to say to yourself, okay, what am I repeating here? What am I constantly doing here? And to get out of that, gratitude, go back to gratitude. Gratitude, I think, is one of the key things of being like, okay, yes, this situation is messed up, but okay, let me turn the camera on myself. If I could do better in any area here, what would it be? Like really, what would it be? What could I do better for
yeah,
myself?
That's
You
that's
know?
tough. That
definitely.
is a very tough thing for a lot of people, is looking at themselves in the mirror and being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to fake it. It's easy to tell a lie.
Mhm. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
everybody's lying. No kidding. I'm telling you, it is.
Yeah.
But
But it'll get you nowhere.
when you with yourself
Yeah.
and you ain't got no reason to lie,
Mm.
Yeah. And I love what you said about talking to yourself because we are definitely related. I talk to myself a lot,
Oh my
especially now
goodness.
I'm driving back to work. Like, I mean, and I get excited for those moments. I don't know if you did this
'cause
too, Daddy, whenever you used to, have to drive to the prisons to minister. Like,
Mm.
just having those moments to yourself to just, you know, talk about whatever you do, but it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like I'm talking to myself. No, I'm talking to the universe, whoever, God. Like, I mean,
I'm
it's
telling you exactly.
and I think a lot of it is when I talked about working on yourself and getting comfortable with your own company. I think it can look like a lot of different things, and meditation can look like a lot of different things. I think my drives are
Sure.
meditations.
they are.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Most
know?
definitely. I believe
Yeah.
I look driving. I use whatever activities I'm doing to meditate,
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I may not even be saying anything out loud. It could just be here in my head.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, they absolutely are meditations.
Yeah, yeah, and it just definitely unlocks something within you, I guess, and it's a way of, I guess, just practicing hearing your voice and using it. Like, I mean, I don't know, it is definitely it's conversational. I don't know how else to explain it, but I'd be curious to know if other people feel like they can have these in-depth conversations with themselves where they want to figure things out. And like you said, like if I'm going to vent with anybody, I'm going to vent with myself first, and then I'll take it
yeah,
to somebody else and see.
yeah,
Because in that venting, I'm turning the camera on myself to say, hey, okay, what could I be doing better? What am I missing here? How do I get out of this, this position that I'm in? How do I grow and develop?
yeah.
So it's very interesting.
That is, like I said, that's something that is huge for me because when I say I turn people away, like, well, what would you do in this situation? I wouldn't be in that situation.
Mm.
I'm not gonna be there.
Ah,
I wouldn't, like,
yeah,
Uh,
100%. And the first time I said that out loud, it just came out. And
mm.
I was talking to my sister when I
Oh,
yeah,
said it.
nice. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, and I just said it so
Matter of
clearly
fact.
and very matter of fact because I knew what I was saying. And she said, but just say that you're in my shoes. And I said, Shandi, I won't. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be in a situation like that.
Yeah.
That would not happen for me.
yeah,
Mm,
I said,
yeah.
so you have to choose how to adjust for that situation for you. I won't be in that situation. That would never happen for me.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes we don't want to, like, because it's very easy to put ourselves in other people's shoes, and then it's also very easy at the same time for me to comprehend that those aren't my shoes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't even
exactly.
have to, I don't have to work from that space. When
Yeah.
I put myself in other people's shoes, it is to comprehend that they see and are experiencing things from a different perspective.
Yeah,
That's all that is. I'm able to say, I hear you. I'm sure that's frustrating for you. Would you like to talk about it?
Mm.
I
I think
can't put myself in your shoes though. I can say I can stand over here, I can switch spaces with you and be like, dang,
yeah.
that's tough.
See, I need to learn a little bit more of that because I feel like if it's people that I really love and care about, because I'm an empath, I can not only put myself in their shoes, but I don't know how to turn off the, oh, that's tough part. And then I'm in the problem solving mode. I'm in the, oh, I don't want this person to be in pain or to feel bad. What can I tell them? How could I help you? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you done this? What about that? Like then I go into problem solving mode. And sometimes it's harder for me to just shut that off and say, okay, that's not my problem to solve.
They have to tell you. If
Yeah.
if if they're looking for the support, they have to be able to tell you so that we can exchange about it. I'm not just
yeah,
gonna listen to you
Yeah. Yeah.
because I can hang up the phone and you can do the same exactly what you were about to tell me. You can say
oh
that to
yeah,
yourself.
Yeah.
and you can call me when you get done and say, "Hey, you know what? I was having this problem and I think I figured it out." I'm
Nice. Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Like, are you calling me because you want to talk about it now? Yeah, I like to talk about that with you.
Yeah.
And this is partly because I'm very empathetic as well.
Hmm.
However, because I've put myself out there for in certain spaces with certain people for so long, I had to learn that I was doing too much. I
Right.
was giving advice that they weren't asking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will take that and they won't even do anything with it. They'll just come back the next time you see them and they're talking about the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so true.
Like
Yeah.
100%.
if you have people like that, then you have people who you give them unwarranted advice and they legit tell you, "I ain't asked you for that." And
Mm.
it's like,
Wow.
okay. So
Yeah.
I've experienced both. I've experienced lots of different
Yeah.
experiences with the same. Oh, this could happen like this. This could happen like this. This could happen like this. So
Yeah.
I've learned to not detach,
Hmm.
but use my discernment
So
to
Yeah.
true.
to see if is this worth my energy to
Exactly.
have this conversation? Is this worth my energy to give unwarranted, unsolicited advice? I
Yeah.
do my best to not do that anymore
Yeah.
because I can give it, I can give it, I can give it, and someone will come back 2 weeks later and we talk about the same thing.
That's so true. You hit the nail on the head with that one. That is so true.
She
It
did.
it's
She
That
did.
discernment is where we
yeah.
protect our heart
Yeah.
with diligence. Like you just said, you have to protect your
Yeah.
heart with diligence, protect it at all costs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have I
Even
have my best interest.
yeah, and even Jesus said the advice he just said, don't throw your pearls among swines. Sometimes they don't give a rat's ass about you or what you're thinking about. They just wonder what they can get off of you or from you. And they, like you said, they gone from your presence. They got information they think they want to hear, but they could care less.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to discernment. It locates people, helps you
Yep.
to identify.
Yeah.
And there. I mean, Jesus even gave warning signs. Hey, you got to watch these people. Some of them are like foxes. They're
Yeah.
just looking to destroy they want to get in the hen house. You got to watch those things, but you got to
Yeah.
identify. I think the universal God gave us mechanisms within ourselves to help us to avoid circumstances and situations that we should or should not be in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Comes with the
agree.
journey, comes with the step.
Right. And like you mentioned, Nell, I feel like I have had moments where you do absolutely realize that not only are they not in a space to receive what you're trying to share, but also a lot of times I have learned that there's certain things that I feel like my inner voice has prepared just for me, and I have tried to share that with other people and have found, like you said, goes on in one ear, out the other. It's, doesn't really take root. And I have heard that specific notation for myself, like that was just for you. That message
Mm.
was just for you. But you get so
Mm.
excited sometimes, and you're like, oh, I want to share this with people. Like you have a download or you have a moment of awareness, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is groundbreaking, and
Yeah,
you want to help other people, but they're not in a space to receive it, and they aren't in a space to even, and they haven't done the work to be open to where they need to be. So,
Mm.
yeah, it's
and
just,
and some people can just be have been so beaten up by the world, by the
yeah,
system, by the job, or by their family or relationships that they just have trouble hearing.
yeah,
And sometimes you've got to say something that will just get their attention. Almost when you say it, it just shocks them into reality. And at that moment, you got to know now, is this the moment where I can say this or is it not? You know,
hmm
like I said, I think that's why we see we see people now today in such a state of being that is so strange and weird and it's just it's almost as though they made choices to be in these situations. A
Mhm.
lot of them wasn't ignorant about being in the situation that we face now as a people or as a nation. They made choices to be that way. And now they may see the error of their ways, but now they want correction. Well, you didn't want correction 2 years ago, but now you want to be corrected because you know the choice you made was wrong or bad, and you see the effects of it. But a lot of people are hurting man bad, and but even Jesus at those moments was moved with compassion. But you got to know that you know. Hey, are you wasting your time? And if you know you wasting your time, hey, one of the prophets said, just shake the dust from your feet and keep walking if they don't want to hear you. Just keep
Mhm.
going because somebody out there needs to hear
Mhm.
what you have, what we have, so that it will help them to do what? Throw away that crap that they don't need. To
Yeah.
be like an onion, peel those things back that hadn't got you forward, and no longer allow those things to attach itself to you. Because things can attach to your emotions, your mind, your will, and it can cause you to ever get so slow in your journey. And people want to be free. They want to be whole. They want to be who they should be.
Yeah.
Somebody has to have the answers for that.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it's you and you and myself. I place a demand on you because I know you have it. And if
Yeah,
you
but we
think you
have
don't
it because
have it,
it's inside of us, right? And
exactly.
everybody has it, right?
Yes, let's open the door. Start listening.
Hmm.
Listen to us. Let us say what we know. Let me hear what you say. How do we get there collectively? Because change has got to come. Oh
Yeah.
yes, it will, and it's gonna be us. It's gonna be it. Got to start. It has to happen. It
Yeah.
has to happen. We got tag your it. This is what's next.
Yeah.
People need
Yeah.
to know, and this is what I love about the fact that you're not afraid to step forward
Yeah.
and say what you know. As my daddy say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to do that. You've learned some things that can help others, and you're not afraid to share some of those things that you've learned that can help and equip others to move forward in their lives. So that's what I'm loving about this first podcast. It's definitely good start. I believe it's a
Yeah.
good step. Every
Yeah.
journey begins with what? One
One.
step.
Yeah.
A
One
single
step.
step. Wow.
Here we are taking the first step.
Right, right. Well, thank you
It's
guys
beautiful.
for coming on today. I think we have stated our point. No, I think this is a great conversation. I think we have a lot more to discuss and to talk about. I want to get into the nitty-gritty of how we can do some of these things, have some actionable takeaway steps for people who want to learn about exploring their inner voice, who want to learn about um, practicing hearing what's for them and enacting that. And I think we can bring a lot of awareness to that and also discover, like you said, Daddy, earlier, why are we here? What is our
Yeah,
purpose? What should we be doing and what does that look like? So I think in future episodes, if you've enjoyed what you've heard today, this is what we're looking to talk about and explore. So thank you guys.
thank
Thank you
you.
for having me. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I'm proud of you guys.
Oh, we're
Oh,
we're in love with all of you. You're
yeah.
beautiful. You're wonderful. And be you as you, and keep
Yes.
on moving forward. Yes.
Always.
Thank you.
Okay.